Imagine you're scrolling through your social media feed, bombarded with opinions, advertisements, and endless chatter. Amidst this digital cacophony, there's a longing for something quieter. Now, imagine a moment where silence isn't just an absence of noise, but a deliberate choice, a choice rooted in wisdom and strength. Take, for example, a typical day at work. Deadlines looming, emails flooding in, and coworkers buzzing around like busy bees. In the midst of this chaos, there comes a moment when tensions rise and words hang heavy in the air. It's in moments like these that the power of silence truly shines. Enter Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that's not just about enduring life's challenges, but about thriving amidst them. At its core lies the power of silence, a tool not of avoidance, but of inner strength and resilience. But let's get real for a moment. Silence isn't always easy, especially when emotions run high. Take, for instance, a disagreement with a friend or loved one. It's tempting to fire back with words of anger or frustration. But what if silence could be our greatest ally instead? That's where this video comes in. We're diving deep into the world of Stoicism to explore 10 situations where silence isn't just necessary. It's a superpower. We'll uncover how embracing silence can transform even the toughest of situations. So, buckle up and get ready for a journey like no other. Remember, each moment of this video is packed with valuable insights, so don't even think about skipping ahead. Trust me, every minute is worth it. So if you've got the patience, stick around until the very end. Because in a world that never seems to stop talking, sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Number 1. In the face of insults. Let's talk about insults, those sharp words that pierce through our armor, leaving us feeling wounded and vulnerable. It's a scenario we've all faced at one point or another, whether it's a snide remark from a colleague or a hurtful comment from a loved one. So, how do we navigate these turbulent waters with grace and dignity? Stoicism offers us a guiding light in moments like these. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example, who famously said, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." In other words, Stoics recognize that the opinions of others hold no power over our inner peace, unless we allow them to. So, how do we apply this wisdom in the face of insults? It starts with a simple but powerful choice, the choice to remain silent. When someone hurls insults our way, our instinctive response may be to retaliate in kind, to defend ourselves and assert our worth. But Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies not in reaction, but in restraint. Instead of allowing insults to ignite the flames of anger within us, we can choose to respond with silence. This silence is not born out of weakness, but out of a deep understanding of our own worth and dignity. As Epictetus wisely said, silence is better than unmeaning words. By choosing silence, we maintain our composure and refuse to stoop to the level of our detractors. But silence alone is not enough. We must also cultivate a mindset of compassion and empathy. Rather than taking insults personally, we can choose to see them as reflections of the speaker's own struggles and insecurities. As Seneca aptly put it, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Ultimately, by responding to insults with silence and compassion, we not only protect our own peace of mind, but also create opportunities for understanding and reconciliation. So, the next time you find yourself on the receiving end of an insult, remember the words of the Stoics and choose silence as your shield. For in the face of adversity, it is our response that defines us. Number 2, during times of conflict. Conflict, it's an inevitable part of life, whether it's a disagreement with a coworker or a clash with a loved one. In these moments, our instincts may urge us to fight fire with fire, to meet aggression with aggression. But what if there's another way? What if, instead of adding fuel to the flames, we chose a path of peace and understanding? Stoicism offers us a timeless lesson in the art of conflict resolution. Consider the words of Epictetus, who famously said, "If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. If you need a witness, be your own." These words remind us that true strength lies not in dominating others, but in mastering ourselves. So, how do we apply this wisdom in the midst of conflict? It begins with a conscious choice, the choice to remain silent. When tensions rise and tempers flare, our natural inclination may be to engage in verbal sparring, to defend our position at all costs. But Stoicism teaches us that true victory lies not in winning arguments, but in preserving relationships. By choosing silence in times of conflict, we create space for understanding and empathy to flourish. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause, take a breath, and truly listen to the perspective of the other party. As Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, our actions speak louder than words. And sometimes the most powerful action we can take is to listen in silence. But silence alone is not enough. We must also cultivate a mindset of compassion and forgiveness. Rather than harboring resentment towards those who disagree with us, we can choose to see them as fellow travelers on the journey of life. By embracing this mindset, we can break free from the cycle of conflict and forge a path of peace. So, the next time you find yourself embroiled in conflict, remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Choose silence as your weapon, empathy as your shield, and forgiveness as your guide. For in the end, it is not the battles we win that define us, but the peace we cultivate along the way. Number 3, amidst gossip and rumors. The whispers exchanged behind closed doors, the rumors that spread like wildfire. It's a phenomenon we've all encountered, whether in the workplace, among friends, or within our communities. But what do we do when we find ourselves amidst the whirlwind of gossip and speculation? Picture this. You're at a social gathering surrounded by chatter and laughter. Suddenly, the conversation takes a turn, and you find yourself caught in the midst of gossip and rumors. It's in moments like these that we're faced with a choice, to join in the gossip or to stand apart in silence. Stoicism teaches us that true wisdom lies in our response to such situations. Instead of succumbing to the temptation to participate in idle chatter, we can choose silence as our ally. But what does this silence entail? Firstly, silence means refraining from spreading gossip ourselves. It's about recognizing the harm that can be caused by spreading unverified information and choosing not to contribute to the cycle of rumors. As Epictetus wisely said, be silent for the most part, or, if you speak, say only what is necessary and in a few words. Secondly, silence involves redirecting conversations away from gossip and towards more meaningful topics. Instead of indulging in sensationalism, we can steer the dialogue towards subjects that uplift and inspire. By doing so, we create an atmosphere of positivity and authenticity. Lastly, silence requires courage. The courage to stand up against gossip, even when it's uncomfortable. This may mean gently confronting those who engage in spreading rumors, or simply choosing to disengage from conversations that veer into gossip territory. It's about setting boundaries and honoring our values, even in the face of social pressure. So, the next time you find yourself amidst gossip and rumors, remember the power of silence. By choosing to refrain from spreading gossip, redirecting conversations, and standing up against gossip, we not only preserve our integrity, but also contribute to a culture of honesty and respect. In a world filled with noise and distraction, let us be the voice of reason and integrity. Let us choose silence as our ally, guiding us towards a path of authenticity and kindness. Number 4, in the presence of ignorance. Ignorance is not the absence of knowledge, but the unwillingness to seek it. It's a phenomenon that permeates our society, from casual conversations to public discourse. But how do we navigate through the fog of ignorance with grace and understanding? Imagine this scenario. You're in a group discussion and someone confidently asserts a statement that is clearly misinformed or based on false assumptions. It's in moments like these that we're faced with a choice: to react with frustration or to respond with wisdom. Stoicism teaches us that true wisdom lies in our response to ignorance. Instead of meeting ignorance with anger or disdain, we can choose silence as a tool for understanding and compassion. But what does this silence entail? Firstly, silence means resisting the urge to engage in futile arguments with the ignorant individual. As Seneca wisely said, it is better to offer no excuse than a bad one. Instead of trying to convince them of their ignorance, we can choose to simply disengage from the conversation and focus our energy on more productive pursuits. Secondly, silence involves redirecting the conversation towards facts and evidence. Rather than getting caught up in the emotional aspect of the discussion, we can steer the dialogue towards objective truths and rational analysis. By doing so, we create an atmosphere of intellectual honesty and critical thinking. Lastly, silence requires patience. The patience to educate and enlighten, even in the face of stubborn resistance. This may mean gently presenting facts and evidence to counter misinformation, or simply leading by example through our own actions and behaviors. It's about planting seeds of knowledge and allowing them to take root over time. So, the next time you find yourself in the presence of ignorance, remember the power of silence. By choosing to disengage from futile arguments, redirecting conversations towards facts and evidence, and patiently educating others, we not only preserve our own peace of mind, but also contribute to a culture of intellectual curiosity and growth. Number 5. During moments of suffering. Life has a way of throwing us into moments of suffering, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a health scare, or a period of emotional turmoil. These experiences can leave us feeling like we're drowning in a sea of pain and uncertainty. But amidst the chaos, there's a timeless philosophy that offers us a roadmap for navigating through the darkness: Stoicism. Think about a time when you felt like the weight of the world was crushing down on you. Maybe it was the loss of a job, a breakup, or a personal setback. In those moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and powerless, isn't it? That's where Stoicism comes in. It's not about denying our pain or pretending everything's fine, but rather about finding strength and resilience in the face of adversity. Stoicism teaches us that silence in moments of suffering isn't about putting on a brave face or burying our emotions. It's about giving ourselves permission to feel our pain fully, without judgment or resistance. It's about sitting with our grief and allowing it to wash over us, knowing that it's a natural part of the human experience. But Stoicism also reminds us that we don't have to go through suffering alone. It's okay to lean on others for support, whether it's talking to a friend, seeking guidance from a therapist, or simply engaging in activities that bring us comfort and joy. These connections remind us that we're not alone in our struggles and that there's strength in vulnerability. And perhaps most importantly, Stoicism teaches us resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity stronger than before. It's about finding meaning and purpose in our pain and using it as fuel to propel us forward on our journey. Maybe it's through personal growth, finding a new sense of purpose, or channeling our energy into helping others who are going through similar struggles. The next time life throws you a curveball, remember the wisdom of Stoicism. Embrace your emotions, seek support when you need it, and find resilience in the face of suffering. Because in the end, it's not about avoiding pain, but about learning to navigate through it with grace and dignity. Number 6, in times of criticism. Criticism, that uncomfortable moment when someone points out our flaws or challenges our ideas. It's something we all face at one time or another, whether it's from a boss, a coworker, or even a friend. But how do we handle criticism with grace and resilience? Imagine this scenario. You've just finished presenting your latest project to your team, feeling proud of your hard work. But instead of receiving praise, you're met with criticism and feedback that feels like a punch to the gut. It's in moments like these that we're faced with a choice: to react defensively or to respond with wisdom. Stoicism offers us a timeless lesson in the art of receiving criticism. Instead of letting it shake our confidence or ruffle our feathers, Stoicism teaches us to embrace silence as a tool for self-reflection and growth. Silence in times of criticism isn't about ignoring or dismissing the feedback we receive. It's about taking a moment to pause and consider the validity of the criticism without allowing our ego to get in the way. It's about recognizing that feedback, even if it stings, can be an opportunity for learning and improvement. But silence in times of criticism also requires humility. The humility to acknowledge our imperfections and shortcomings. Instead of getting defensive or making excuses, we can choose to respond with gratitude for the opportunity to grow and evolve. And perhaps most importantly, silence in times of criticism teaches us resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks stronger than before. It's about recognizing that our worth isn't defined by the opinions of others, but by our own actions and values. By embracing criticism as a chance to learn and grow, we can turn even the harshest feedback into fuel for success. So, the next time you find yourself on the receiving end of criticism, remember the wisdom of Stoicism. Embrace silence as your ally. Take a moment to reflect on the feedback and respond with humility and resilience. Because in the end, it's not about avoiding criticism, but about using it as a stepping stone on the path to greatness. Number 7. When tempted by anger. That fiery force that can sweep us off our feet and lead us into actions we later regret. It's something we all experience, whether it's in response to a perceived injustice, a personal slight, or just the frustrations of everyday life. But how do we resist the temptation of anger and respond with wisdom and composure? Picture this scenario. You're stuck in traffic running late for an important meeting when suddenly another driver cuts you off, nearly causing an accident. In that moment, anger flares up inside you, and before you know it, you're honking your horn and shouting obscenities out the window. But what does this accomplish? In reality, it only serves to escalate the situation and leave you feeling even more frustrated and out of control. Now, imagine a different scenario. You're faced with the same situation. Someone cuts you off in traffic, but instead of reacting with anger, you choose to remain silent. You take a deep breath, remind yourself that getting angry won't change the situation, and focus on finding a solution rather than lashing out. In this moment, silence becomes your greatest ally, allowing you to maintain your composure and respond with wisdom and restraint. So, how do we cultivate this ability to remain silent in the face of anger? Stoicism offers us valuable insights and practical advice for managing our emotions. Rather than allowing anger to control us, Stoicism teaches us to pause, take a step back, and assess the situation with clarity and perspective. One powerful Stoic practice is the view from above, where we imagine ourselves as observers of our own lives, detached from the emotions that often cloud our judgment. By adopting this perspective, we can gain a deeper understanding of the root causes of our anger and choose a more constructive response. Mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing and meditation can also be incredibly effective in managing anger. By grounding ourselves in the present moment and focusing on our breath, we can calm the storm of emotions swirling within us and respond to challenging situations with greater clarity and equanimity. And finally, Stoicism reminds us that true virtue lies in mastering ourselves, in cultivating qualities such as patience, kindness, and self-control. By striving to embody these virtues in our daily lives, we can navigate through moments of anger with grace and dignity and emerge stronger and wiser on the other side. Number 8. In the midst of chaos. The concept of silence in the midst of chaos, that rare ability to find stillness and tranquility even in the busiest of environments. It's something we all long for, especially in today's fast-paced world, where we're constantly bombarded with noise and distractions. But how do we cultivate this sense of inner peace amidst the chaos of modern life? Picture this scenario. You're in the middle of a crowded airport, rushing to catch a flight, when suddenly you realize you've forgotten your passport. Panic sets in as you frantically search through your belongings, but amidst the chaos and confusion, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and powerless. Now, imagine a different approach. Instead of giving in to panic and frustration, you choose to remain silent. You take a deep breath, centering yourself amidst the chaos, and focus on finding a solution to the problem at hand. In this moment, silence becomes your greatest ally, allowing you to maintain clarity of mind and make decisions with confidence. So, how do we cultivate this ability to remain silent in the midst of chaos? Stoicism offers us valuable insights and practical advice for finding stillness amidst the storm. One key Stoic practice is the acceptance of what is, the recognition that chaos and disorder are inevitable aspects of the human experience. By embracing this reality, we can free ourselves from the grip of frustration and resentment, and instead focus on finding peace within ourselves. Stoicism reminds us that true virtue lies in mastering ourselves, in cultivating qualities such as patience, resilience, and equanimity. By striving to embody these virtues in our daily lives, we can navigate through even the most chaotic of situations with grace and dignity. In a world filled with noise and confusion, let us be beacons of stillness and tranquility. Let us choose silence as our refuge, guiding us towards a path of inner strength and resilience. Number 9. In the presence of arrogance. Imagine you're in a meeting, pitching your ideas passionately, when a colleague interrupts with dismissive remarks, undermining your contributions. It's disheartening, and the urge to react defensively is strong. But in the face of arrogance, silence can wield a power far greater than any retort. Remaining silent in the presence of arrogance isn't about conceding defeat or submitting to belittlement. It's a strategic choice, a display of inner strength and confidence in our own worth. So, how do we harness the power of silence in the face of arrogance? Firstly, cultivate self-awareness and emotional intelligence. When faced with arrogance, it's natural to feel a surge of emotions. Anger, frustration, or even a sense of inferiority. Take a moment to acknowledge these feelings without judgment, and then consciously choose how to respond. Secondly, practice empathy and understanding. Arrogance often stems from insecurities or a need for validation. Instead of reacting defensively, try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. By understanding their perspective, you can respond with compassion and grace. Thirdly, remember the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within our control. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." By choosing silence in the face of arrogance, we assert our agency and refuse to be dragged into unnecessary conflict. Lastly, embrace the power of silence as a tool for self-mastery. In the midst of arrogance, silence can be our greatest ally, allowing us to maintain our dignity and composure. It's not about suppressing our voice, but rather about choosing when and how to use it most effectively. In a world filled with arrogance and ego, let us choose silence as our response, not out of weakness, but out of a deep-seated confidence in ourselves and our values. By remaining silent, we assert our own worth and refuse to be diminished by the arrogance of others. By applying these steps in our interactions with arrogant individuals, we can navigate through challenging situations with grace and integrity, maintaining our composure and self-respect. Number 10. At the end of the day. As the day draws to a close, we often find ourselves reflecting on the events that transpired, the interactions we had, and the emotions we experienced. It's during these moments of reflection that the power of silence becomes particularly poignant. We'll explore why remaining silent at the end of the day is not just beneficial, but essential for our well-being. Imagine this scenario. You've just finished a long day at work filled with meetings, deadlines, and demands. As you finally settle into the quiet of your home, there's a temptation to fill the silence with distractions. The TV blaring in the background, the endless scroll of social media on your phone. But what if, instead of seeking external stimulation, you chose to embrace the silence? At the end of the day, silence offers us an opportunity to pause, to reflect, and to reconnect with ourselves. It's a chance to process the events of the day, to acknowledge our thoughts and emotions without judgment, and to cultivate a sense of inner peace. So, how do we embrace the power of silence at the end of the day? Firstly, incorporate mindfulness practices into your evening routine. Take a few moments to sit in silence, focusing on your breath and allowing your mind to settle. This simple act of mindfulness can help to calm your thoughts, release tension from your body, and prepare you for a restful night's sleep. Secondly, journaling can be a powerful tool for processing your thoughts and emotions. Take some time each evening to write down your reflections. What went well, what challenges you faced, and what lessons you learned. This practice of self-reflection can help to deepen your understanding of yourself and your experiences. Lastly, set intentions for the following day. Take a moment to visualize how you want your day to unfold, focusing on your priorities and values. By setting clear intentions, you can approach the new day with clarity and purpose, rather than being swept away by external pressures and distractions. By embracing silence as a time for reflection, introspection, and renewal, we can cultivate a deeper sense of peace and presence in our lives. As we come to the end of our exploration into the transformative power of silence, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered together. Throughout this journey, we've delved into 10 situations where remaining silent is not just an option, but a profound act of courage and wisdom. From navigating conflicts and criticism to resisting the pull of anger and arrogance, we've witnessed the incredible strength that lies in choosing silence as our response. So, as you go about your day, I encourage you to embrace the power of silence in your own life. Take a moment to pause, to breathe, and to listen to the quiet whispers of your own inner wisdom. In the midst of noise and chaos, let silence be your refuge, guiding you towards a path of greater clarity, compassion, and connection. And if you found value in today's exploration, I invite you to join our community by subscribing to our channel. Together, let's continue to explore the beauty and significance of silence in our lives. Thank you for watching.